Until now, every go-to-market strategy came with a very big, specific, and unavoidable risk that you couldn't get honest feedback about your messaging from the customers until after you spent the time and money and reputation points to put it in front of those customers. Simulmatica is a private, online, unlimited testing lab for your go-to-market strategy, your copy, your messaging, anything you want to put in front of people to persuade them. Let me show you how it works. When you log in, you'll see your labs. Each lab is a simulated version of a specific buying committee, the actual people who sit on the other side of the table at your client's company. There's a CFO in here, probably. There might be a technical buyer, a champion, a gatekeeper, whatever you chose. Each one has a psychographic profile built from real research data, how people in that role actually think, what they fear, what they say they need to hear before they say yes. You can have as many labs as you need. They stay completely separate. This is where you spend most of your time. It's a conversation, but instead of one person, you're talking to the whole group at once. When you start a fresh session, you'll see these suggested prompts. They're there to help you get oriented fast, but you can ask anything. Watch what happens. The committee responds in character. The CFO is going to tell you exactly what's going to go wrong, and they're not going to be polite about it. This is the thing people notice first. The personas are specific. The CFO doesn't sound like the technical buyer. The champion doesn't sound like procurement. Each one has a different agenda, a different vocabulary, a different reason to say no or say yes. You can ask follow-up questions. You can push back. You can change direction. It's a real conversation. One more thing about the chat. There's a copywriter built in called Winnie. It's always in the room. If you paste in a piece of copy and ask it to change it, it'll rewrite it based on what the people just told you. Every session is saved automatically. Over here in the sidebar, you'll see your full session history for the active lab in reverse chronological order. Click any session to resume it exactly where you left it off. The context picks up where it ended. Nothing is lost between calls. Up here, this stage dropdown changes how the committee behaves. Set it to discovery, and they're curious but non-committal. Switch it to closing, and the political blockers come out, last-minute objections, committee members who've changed their minds. It reflects where you actually are in the deal, or where the customer is in the buyer journey. You can attach real content to any message, upload a deck, a cold email, a positioning statement, or paste in a URL. It scrapes the page and pulls in the content, then ask the committee what they think of it. Up here in the top right is the tools menu. This is where the structured testing happens. At the top, you've got competition, asymmetric, lateral, brand voice, session eval, and lab templates. At the bottom, 3 testing tools: single test, A/B test, and multivariate test. Let me walk you through them in order. If there's a competitor already in the mix or an incumbent they're loyal to, configure that here. Tell Simulmatica who the competitor is and what the scenario looks like. Did they just pitch the committee? Is there a committee member who's already preferring them? Once that's set, the committee starts referencing the competitive dynamic on their own. Your CFO will bring them up when you don't expect it, just like a real meeting. This one is for after you've had a full session and you want to go deeper. Asymmetric thinking runs this transcript through 24 strategic lenses and surfaces the non-obvious positioning opportunities, the angles that incumbents and competitors can't easily replicate. It tells you the single most impactful message change you can make this week. Lateral is also a post-session tool, but it works differently. Where asymmetric finds hidden strategic angles, lateral breaks the rut. It reads your conversation, identifies the approach you've been locked into, the first right answer you've been looking for, and then uses lateral thinking techniques to generate 3 to 5 radically different alternatives you haven't considered yet. Each one comes with the technique that generated it and a hook that you can take straight into a message or positioning angle. It ends with a single recommended first experiment. Brand voice is where you set the tone for everything the committee outputs. Each lab can have its own style override. So if a client has specific internal language or a brand voice they want reflected, when it's set, every response from the committee writes to that voice automatically. You configure it here. Turn it off and it reverts to the platform default. After a session, run a session eval. It evaluates your messaging across 4 dimensions: clarity, resonance, objection handling, and differentiation. Each one gets a score from 1 to 10 with a 1-sentence rationale. Copy it, print it, or save it. It's a clean way to track whether your messaging is actually getting better. started and you don't have a client document to upload yet, you don't have to wait. There are 15 pre-built committee templates here. Private equity portfolio companies, SaaS buyers, enterprise IT, healthcare administrators, a bunch of them. Pick a template, name it, and your lab is ready in seconds. No uploads, no setup. Single test is where you drop in a piece of content, an ad, an email, a landing page, a slide, and get a structured score from every committee member. Each person tells you what resonates, what concerns them, and their hidden objections, the things they would never say out loud in a real meeting, but that kill deals in committee. And they tell you whether this content alone would make them support moving the deal forward. This is the one I use most. Before anything goes to a client, it goes through here. A/B is exactly what it sounds like. Two versions of something, a subject line, a headline, an email. The committee evaluates both and picks a winner with reasoning, not a coin flip, actual reasoning from each person about why one landed and the others didn't. You can also throw in competitor messaging here and run it up against your own. If you've got more than two options to compare, use multivariant test. Drop in up to 10 message variants, taglines, subject lines, value propositions, and the committee evaluates all of them simultaneously and ranks them. You can see which one scored highest, the gap between the first and the second, and exactly which persona preferred which option. It's a fast way to clear a crowded whiteboard. When you're done with a session, export a full intelligence report, Word, PDF, or straight to your email. It includes every objection that came up, what messaging landed and what didn't, the committee dynamics, and a deal readiness score, 1 to 10. The likelihood this committee would advance the deal. This is something you can hand to a client. It turns a 30-minute lab session into a deliverable. Or skip the download entirely. Any session can be shared as a read-only link. No login required on the recipient's end. Your client clicks it and sees the full transcript formatted cleanly. Toggle it off anytime, and the link stops working immediately. If you're running multiple client engagements or multiple projects at the same time, they all live here. One login, switch between clients with this dropdown. Nothing mixes. Each lab has its own history, its own committee, its own session data. And if you're working with a small team, an associate, a virtual assistant, co-strategist, ProPlan lets you add up to 2 additional seats. They get access to all your labs under one subscription, so no separate logins, no data silos. That's Simulmatica. The best way to understand what it actually feels like is to put something real in it. A deck you've been working on, an email you're about to send, a positioning statement you're not sure about. Sign up at Simulmatica.com. Your first lab is waiting.